So this video is kind of on the fly here. I wrote some notes about 5 to 10 minutes prior to recording this video. So if you see me looking down, it's just because I'm reading off of slips of paper in front of me. But I wanted to wait to make this video today because I just feel like after NFL games, you're a bit too reactionary, a bit too in the moment after watching your team lose. But last night was tough. It was tough in the short term. And 14-3, the season just ending like that, that's Vikings history for you. And, I've seen a lot of doom and gloom over the last X amount of hours. A lot of criticism towards the head coach, Kevin O'Connell. And the second half of that game, I was a bit more calm than I probably was watching the Detroit game. Was that last Sunday night? But, I'm not really feeling the doom and gloom today. And I'll tell you why, because just thinking about it, the Minnesota Vikings, they were never supposed to be there in the first place. And I feel like Kevin O'Connell, he's getting kind of the Mike Tomlin treatment. I do not like how people in Pittsburgh are kind of talking about Mike Tomlin right now because, with Kevin O'Connell right now, he overachieved with the roster that wasn't supposed to be there, and he's getting hammered for it. He is. And he's still a great head coach. He's one of the best offensive play callers in the NFL. And, you're going to point towards, the Vikings offense. It didn't look that great, but this happened with Detroit also. It comes down to execution, not necessarily the play calls all the time. It comes down to execution. And Kevin O'Connell, he's been able to maximize quarterback play, whether that's Kirk Cousins, Nick Mullins, Jaron Hall, not Jaron Hall, scratch that actually, Josh Dobbs, and now Sam Darnold. And I can't wait till they extend him. He's still a great head coach. I don't really like the criticism that he's been getting over the last X amount of hours. But remember, the win total for this team is set at 6.5 wins. 6.5. Sam Darnold wasn't supposed to throw for 35 touchdowns, which I believe is the second most in franchise history behind Dante Culpepper's 2004 MVP caliber season. And this roster coming in this year, it was flawed. And it was a reason why many thought that this team would not be able to compete. And those flaws showed up big time yesterday, I believe, against the Los Angeles Rams. Specifically, I just gave Sam Darnold some credit, but you see why he was never coming back unless this team got to the NFC title game / Super Bowl. I mean, against Detroit, he missed about 4 to 5 touchdowns that should have been thrown. And yesterday, I think he missed Jalen Naylor like twice, which would have been huge conversions, moving the sticks. And then he took, 9 sacks? That's an NFL playoff record. And that wasn't all on the offensive line. But I'm going to get to the offensive line because I think Kevin O'Connell did. I didn't watch the postgame, but I believe he directly went after the interior offensive line in his postgame. The Vikings, they need to improve that this offseason as well. And then the interior defensive line as well. I mean, you get pressure from your edge rushers, Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, phenomenal pass rushers. But you don't have really that much pressure coming from the interior. They need one more guy to pair alongside Harrison Phillips, I believe. But I'm excited for this team going forward. And one of the main reasons why is for the first time, what it seems like forever, because you're not paying a quarterback a lot of money, the Minnesota Vikings have cap space, the 6th most in the NFL. And also, I'm a big J.J. McCarthy fan. I kind of wanted the Vikings to either draft him or Drake May this past offseason, and they got J.J. McCarthy. It was just unfortunate what happened after that preseason game against the Las Vegas Raiders. But I think J.J. McCarthy fits this system better than what Sam Darnold did. I really do. And I believe the front office believes that. Kevin O'Connell said this was his team's franchise quarterback in the offseason shortly after he went down with the season-ending injury. So remember that. Remember. And people say a lot about J.J. McCarthy, but you go on and watch his Michigan film, he's a pretty sharp quarterback, and I cannot wait to see him back in action for this team. But right now, I understand it. I get it. It sucks. You lost what? Your 32nd playoff game as a franchise. The Minnesota sports curse continues. It continues. The men's teams have not won a world championship since the 1991 Minnesota Twins. That was a decade before I was born. I mean, that's how long ago it was, and I'm 23 years old now. And to make it worse, it just seems like the Detroit Lions, they might be going and getting their first ever Super Bowl. That's just the reality of it. It sucks. It's football. Football is a brutal sport. Losing, I don't like losing. I don't like when my teams lose. Just losing in general, suffering setbacks, failure, it's tough. But with J.J. McCarthy, tweet out yesterday after they lost to More Fati. One of the great quotes that I kind of discovered after he first tweeted it, after he got injured or something like that. But like I said, I am excited for the future. I feel like it's only the beginning for this football team. They have cap space. They still, I said this roster had flaws. They still have a lot of good pieces on this team. You got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. TJ Hawkinson got his first touchdown in forever yesterday. You got that. Christian Darrisaw, Brian O'Neill, Dallas Turner. I think he's going to be eventually be good. And he's playing behind Grenard and Van Ginkel. That's why he's not making that big of an impact, because he has two, in my opinion, all pro level D ends in front of him. They also have Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace Jr., and Josh Metellus. So they have a lot to build with. The NFC North, I believe, it's going to be tough. I mean, the Chicago Bears, if they get Mike McCarthy, I think they're going to be competitive again. I think that's who they should go after, not Ben Johnson. That's my opinion on it. But Green Bay, you kind of see who Jordan Love is. I mean, that's what he is, I think. And what makes it worse for them is that his salary cap hit is only going to continue to go up. And then the Detroit Lions, they're about to lose both coordinators. And first of all, they are a good football team. They are. But, are they going to continue this dominance of winning 14 to 15 games going forward? And they're going to lose Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn? I mean, they're a good football team, but you don't know. You don't know. So I believe that this team, the Minnesota Vikings, have a bright future. And if they can have another good offseason, like they did this past offseason, they had a good offseason. That's why they won 14 games. If they have another good free agent class and they can really hit on some draft picks, they need a running back to pair along with Aaron Jones. Bring Aaron Jones back and get him another running back. And then whatever you don't get in free agency, that could be cornerback, interior defensive lineman, or offensive guard, get that in the draft. Those are your first two picks, or trade back and get more draft capital. But like I said, the offseason is very fun to talk about. It's one of the most fun times of the football calendar year because you get to speculate and have a lot of optimism. So I'm going to be talking about it. I'm putting this on TikTok first, and I know what might happen to TikTok in the next coming days. So I've also started a YouTube. I started a while back. I just haven't really given that much attention to it, really. So I'm going to be trying to build that up as well. So, if this app TikTok no longer exists, just go follow there. I'm going to still be doing what I've been doing the last couple of years. I mean, it's been fun just kind of building this up, connecting with Vikings fans and all of that. So excited what I can do, see what I can do there. Excited for the Minnesota Vikings. And yeah, last night was tough, but the sun came up today, beautiful day. And, hopefully one day they're able to lift that Lombardi trophy. So that's all I got. Skol Vikes.